Hi, I'm June from Deheimot Country Inn. I'm at the Homestead Church, and Deheimot is just down the street. So I thought I'd come to the church today and talk to the person who's here telling guests about the history of the church. I know this church has not been used as a worship space since the 1990s, but I have Kaci here. Kaci is a history major, and she's doing an internship with the Amana Heritage Society. So I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about the church, mostly focusing on marriage customs from the past.
Hi there, my name is Kaci and I'm here to talk to you about how marriage worked in the church. So if you wanted to get married, you and your partner would go to the elders because there wasn't a priest or a pastor, it was the board of elders. And you would say, we would like to get married. And the elders would say, great, here's what we're going to do. You, young man, are going to live in a different village for a year, and if you still like each other by the end of that, we'll figure something out. So if the gentleman lived in Amana, maybe he would move to Middle Amana, and they would be separate for that year. And then if you still like each other by the end of the year, you would come back and say, we would like to get married, and they would set a date. Often they would have it on a church service, and there's about 11 church services a week in the Amana Colonies, and they would pick an all-community event to have the marriage on. And all-community events are the church services that are here in the actual prayer hall. And so they would get that date, and oftentimes more than one couple had been waiting for a year, so there'd be more than one marriage often performed on the same day. And they would have a church service where had elements of marriage kind of intertwined throughout, and the men's and the women's sides were separate. So on one side would be the men's side, and on the other would be the women's. So the groomsmen would line up on the men's side, and the brides would line up on the women's side. And then what we typically expect as a kiss at the end, they would shake hands from across the aisle, and then you were married. And then after the ceremony, you would go to the bride's local communal kitchen, often the one she was working for, and you would have beer, wine, and singing circles, a celebration of sorts. And then afterward, it would be about a week or two because they needed to kind of rearrange people in the communal living. About 4 families would live in a standard house at the same time. So for the newlyweds, they needed a place to live. So they would sometimes have to do some rearranging of people, and that could take a week or two. But then at the end of that, you were married.
Thank you, Kaci. And I also heard that after you got married, you got a set of furniture from the community. And one thing that included was two single beds. And some of the other basic things, probably a chair and a table, and I don't know exactly what, but you were given that to start out your married life.